everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you some dinners that only have 5 ingredients or less. They are all fun, they're easy, they're budget friendly. I know that you guys are gonna love them. Let's get started. Okay, for my 5 ingredient meal, we're going to be doing some beef enchiladas, and this is something that I can add a lot to or take away and it still be really good. So I'm going to be doing some red enchilada sauce. I love Old El Paso just because I find it to be way better than any of the other ones that I've tried. We're going to be doing some black beans. Typically I would also add in some corn sometimes, and also some like either Rotel or diced tomatoes, but I'm going to omit those today. They're not like super necessary, but they are really good in this dish if you wanted to add that. We have some ground beef, some cheese, and some tortillas. I am going to be using some low-carb tortillas for me only, and then the rest for my husband and for my kids, they will just have this regular tortillas. So let's get started. So to a medium pan, I'm going to go ahead and put in my ground beef. We're just going to brown this up until it is nice and cooked through. And then I'm just going to drain off any grease. And then we're going to add in 1 ounce of taco seasoning. You guys can do homemade, or the packets are fine as well. And I am not going to add in any water because we're going to be adding in some enchilada sauce. So I typically omit that step. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour in a 10-ounce can of enchilada sauce. And then you're going to need a half a cup to a cup of cheese, just whatever you guys prefer. 1 can of black beans, and then give that a good mix. You want to make sure that that cheese gets nice and melted. Alright, and then we're going to spray the 9x13 pan because you don't want your tortillas to stick to the bottom of this. And we're going to put our beef mixture right in the middle of our tortilla. And then we're going to just layer them in our 9x13 pan. This usually does between 6 and 8 tortillas, just kind of depends on how big that you fill them. And then we're going to take our another can of the enchilada sauce and just pour that right on top. I like to have quite a good layer of the enchilada sauce just on that. And then we'll take some cheese and just put cheese right on top of that. If you guys know me, you guys know that I love cheese, so I'm definitely layering this with a lot of cheese. And then I put mine in the oven at 350 degrees for at least 30 minutes. Sometimes it's between 30 and 45 minutes, but I like it when it's a little bit on the crispy side on the very edges. And this is what it looks like after it's all done. So good. Me and my family absolutely love having enchiladas in our house. And usually I do some type of like Spanish or Mexican rice, but I completely forgot about the rice this time, and we just paired it with some chips. And I like to put sour cream on top of mine, and usually like my husband will do some salsa on top of his as well. This is oh so delicious. Here's all the ingredients we're going to need for tonight's meal. I'm going to need some salsa. I just have this in my pantry. I have chickpea rotini noodles, but you guys can definitely use regular rotini noodles. I have some Rotel, some cheddar cheese, and then our hamburger beef, or you guys can use sausage. I like to use sausage a lot of times for certain meals because it tastes really good and it's very flavorful. Let's get started on tonight's meal. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get started on our noodles. So I just emptied the whole box in there, and I'm just going to let that get to al dente. But while that's cooking, I'm going to get started on my ground beef. So I'm just going to take 1 pound of ground beef and just brown it until it is completely cooked through. And then I will also drain off any excess grease. And then we're going to take 1 ounce of taco seasoning and just put that right on top of our ground beef and give that a good little mix. Get that well combined within our beef mixture. And
And then I'm going to use 1 cup of salsa and then 1 can of Rotel. Give that another good mix. And then once you get all that combined, it should be about time where your noodles are ready. So I just went ahead and added my noodles to my soup pan. And then I added 1 cup of cheese, giving that a really good stir. And you're just going to stir that around until your cheese is nice and melted through. And that is it. That's all I did for this meal. It is super easy. It only took less than 30 minutes. So delicious. And I just put some sour cream in ours and it was so good. You could also top it with a little bit of cheese as well.
Okay, here's everything we're gonna need for this 5-ingredient meal. We're gonna need some chicken. We're gonna be making some Mississippi chicken in this meal. I think I'm gonna start over because of the thing. So here's everything we're gonna be needing for tonight's meal. We're gonna be making some Mississippi chicken, so I need my chicken, and then I need 1 packet of ranch dressing. We're not gonna use this whole stick. We're gonna use about 6 tablespoons. And then I need some au jus gravy or au jus. And then we're going to need some pepperoncinis. I plan on only using half of that. And then I will put some sides with this. I'll put probably just some potatoes and carrots in with the crock pot. So, but for the main course, it's only going to be about 5 ingredients right here.
Okay, so to get it started, I'm actually going to be doing all of this in the crock pot. So I'm going to add all of my chicken, and I had a bunch in the freezer that I'm trying to get rid of. So that's why you see me doing 2 different types of chicken. And then I'm going to go ahead and add all of this bag of baby carrots. My family really likes carrots, so usually when I do crock pot meals, I usually end up using the whole bag. And then I'm going to do about 5 these Yukon Gold potatoes. And then I'm going to top it with that ranch seasoning mix right on top of that. And then I'm actually just going to use half of this jar of pepperoncinis. You see me kind of putting a lot of the juice, and then I just topped it with a little bit more pepperoncinis. And then I'm going to use about 6 tablespoons of butter. And then I thought I was done, but I totally forgot that I needed to put the au jus gravy mix right on top of that. So that's what you see me doing here. And then I'm going to put the lid on, and I cooked this for exactly 5.5 hours on high. And then after that it is done cooking, and this is what it's going to look like. Everything is so perfect. Everything is super juicy. I love the flavors of this Mississippi chicken. You guys, this is like so good. This is like a perfect meal to make like after church or something like that, or while you're at church, I guess I should say. And so yes, the chicken and with the carrots and the potatoes, oh so good. And I love putting them on this little serving dish. I just love these dishes because they're so good for my kids. And I did want to let you know that this is on sale right now at Amazon. If you want to check it out, it's on sale. I believe it's 20% off, and then with my discount code you will get an extra 10% off. So if you're interested in these platters, they're really good for pastas and salads, but they're also really good to keep everything in for like your kids' lunches and dinners.
For dinner tonight, we're going to be making a taco pizza, which is actually one of my favorite ways to make pizza if I'm going to make it homemade. So I need 1 thing of pizza crust, or you can do a homemade crust. I'm going to need some type of base, so I'm going to be using this taco sauce as our base. And then we need some ground beef. We're going to need some cheese. We're going to need this, I just do it as like a topping, but it's actually really good just right on top. Or if you guys want to do like some sour cream, some tomatoes, some lettuce, that's fine too. These are my basic ingredients that I'm going to be needing for tonight's meal. So let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get started on our ground beef. So I actually had this ground beef in the fridge for I think like a day or two, so that's why it looks a little discolored, but it's totally fine. Um, so we're just going to ground that up until it's nice and cooked through. We're going to use this paper towel effect to go ahead and get off any of that grease, especially when I'm being lazy. I just like to use this little paper towel. And then once all the grease is off, then we're going to add 1 ounce of taco seasoning, get that well combined in with the ground beef. All right, once that's well combined, we're going to set that to the side. And then to a cookie sheet, I'm going to go ahead and spray my cookie sheet with some olive oil spray. And then we're going to use that pizza crust and lay that out. Now this does kind of run a little bit on the thick side, so you can either use a rolling pin or you can just kind of thin it out with your hands. But if you kind of like it thick, that's totally fine too. You can kind of leave it how it is, but we usually try to spread it out a little bit because it'll thicken up as it cooks as well. I definitely suggest cooking this for maybe like 5 minutes before adding the taco mixture and, you know, the base that you're going to use. I would definitely suggest doing that first because your beef is going to end up getting a little bit more on the crispy side. So what I did is I added my base first. So I have that taco sauce that I'm just going to layer that right on to our pizza dough. And then I'm just going to put the taco mixture right on top of that. And I think some onions in this taco mixture would be superb. I think that would add a lot as well. But I just did it like this today. And then I'm actually just going to layer some cheese right on top of that. You guys don't have to. I think like not having a lot of melted cheese is what I prefer. So if I were to do this again, I probably wouldn't put any cheese on first. But that's just how I did it this time, I guess. I've done this a couple times, but I'm not sure what I was thinking when I made this this day. So after it's done cooking, I cooked it in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. And then I added a little bit more cheese right on top of that. And then I have like this Taco Bell sauce that I like to use. It is a bit on the spicy side. So if you want to not completely omit that or get a different sauce that isn't so spicy, or if you guys like spicy, and then all power to you because this is really, really good. It reminds me of like that gordita crunch that they have. I love that sauce. It's so, so good. But it was a little bit on the spicy side for my kids, so they ended up using quite a bit of sour cream on theirs. But yes, you can top it with some lettuce, some sour cream, some tomatoes, and some salsa. That would all be really good. My kids loved this taco pizza.
Tonight's dinner is going to be some chicken roll-ups. So here are the 5 ingredients that we're going to need. And this recipe I did double, so you can definitely do half if you have a smaller family. I'm going to need 1 cup of milk. I need 2 things of crescent rolls, 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. I'm going to need 1 cup of cheese. I'm just doing this like Fiesta blend. And then I also have 3 cups of some shredded up chicken.
Okay, for this last one, I have my kids helping me. So they are going to put in 2 cups of milk in a pretty large mixing bowl, and then we're going to add in 2 cans of this cream of chicken soup. And I end up making a huge mess because I'm not thinking things through. I don't know, but I end up making a mess because that's just who I am. And then I add 1 cup of that Fiesta blend cheese, giving that a good stir. My son's helping me stir it. And then once it's all stirred together, then I'm just going to put that to the side. I'm going to need a cutting board because I'm going to kind of cut up these crescent rolls just so that they kind of roll up a little bit easier. So I'm going to take them apart and just kind of layer them 4 on one side and 4 on the other. And then I'm going to get a pizza cutter out and just kind of cut these where the dotted lines are so I can work with them a little bit easier. All right, and then I'm just going to take that chicken, and this chicken is just regular shredded chicken that I added just a little bit of paprika to give it a little bit of flavor. And I just put that right on top of our crescent rolls. And then we're going to take that soup mixture and put maybe like a tablespoon on each little crescent roll. And then very carefully, I'm going to put it by my 9x13 pan. Make sure that that pan is sprayed. I don't want it to stick to the bottom of that pan. And carefully, I'm going to try to roll these up. And yeah, you guys are going to get really messy. So if you don't like being messy, maybe don't add as much chicken or don't add like that cream of chicken mixture, because my hands were a mess. But they were so worth it because they ended up being really, really good. It ended up being like my kids' favorite meal that I made in this whole video. So it was worth it in the end. And so since I did a double batch of this, I end up using all of this pan and then a little bit in this like little loaf pan. And then once everything is layered how you want it to be, I'm just going to take the rest of that mixture and pour that right on top of our crescent rolls. And then I'm just going to put just a very thin layer of cheese right on top. And then in my oven that is preheated to 350, I let this cook for about 30 to 35 minutes because you really want to make sure those crescent rolls get nice and cooked through. So definitely want to keep an eye on that one. And this is what it looks like after it's done. My family adored this. They thought it was so good. And I thought, you know what? This would be a really great alternative to like chicken quesadillas. Like if you don't have any tortillas, just put it in a crescent roll. Put all the mixture in a crescent roll and it's going to turn out to be really good. I ended up making this like rice pilaf, and then we had some like leftover creamy corn that I paired it with as well. And you guys, so good. It was just one of the best and easiest meals that I had made this week. It was so delicious.
All right, Annie, how's your food? Do you like it? Okay, and what's your favorite meal that I made this video? This one's your favorite? Mm-hmm. All right. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good.
Okay. Was this your favorite meal, or what was your favorite one?
Taco pizza.
Taco pizza. What do you think, baby? Good. What was your favorite meal? This one? Ooh. How is it? This? What do you think, Danielle?
That's good.
What was your favorite?
My favorite one is taco pizza.
Taco. This is really good, but my favorite is the taco pizza as well. Love taco pizza. I have tons of other videos just like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.